The Boston Celtics are down 3-2 to the Philadelphia 76ers in spite of Joel Embiid missing the first game and basically might as well have been missing the second game because he was clearly not ready. Their sloppy start to this series could be excused by an emphatic win in Game 5, but of course, that didn't happen. In fact, basically everybody except for Jaylen Brown decided they didn't want to show up for that game. And the main culprit for this no-show was Jayson Tatum. And frankly, given how he has performed in these playoffs at large, I'm starting to view him a little bit differently. With the NBA playoffs being here, that means now is the perfect time to check out this video's sponsor, Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the easiest way to play daily fantasy for someone who is new to daily fantasy. It is just you versus the projections. Select 2 to 6 players and pick whether you think they will get more or less of their projected stat. Get all of them right and you can win up to 25 times your money. Prize Picks is also running a massive giveaway. Every day during the playoffs, one random Prize Picks user will have a chance to become a millionaire. One entry placed after 8 a.m. Eastern will be randomly selected every day to make a 6-pick flex play. Get 4 picks correct and you can win $16,000. Get 5 correct, you win $80,000. And get all 6 correct and you will walk away a millionaire. And what's great for you is that if you have not downloaded Prize Picks already, first-time users who use my code RUSTY will get an instant deposit match up to $100. So let's say you put in $50, Prize Picks will send you $50 and so on. So click the link in the description to download Prize Picks and again, use my code RUSTY for an instant deposit match up to $100. Thank you to Prize Picks for sponsoring this video. Now, you might look at the box score of Game 5 and say, how is this Jayson Tatum's fault exactly? He had easily the most points on the team. You know, seems like he's the one who showed up. But that would frankly be a perfect example of why you cannot look at the box score to tell you the full story of a game. Jayson scored most of those points by the time the game was out of reach for Boston. He started the game shooting awfully, putting the Celtics in a massive hole, and then he remembered how to play basketball after it was too little too late. This same exact thing happened in Game 4. Jayson Tatum goes 1 for 9 in the first half, and the Celtics are down 9 at halftime, and while they still managed to push it into overtime from there, they were playing with their backs against the wall the full time because of Jayson Tatum not showing up. Inconsistency has plagued Jayson Tatum's career for a very, very long time. I have talked about it at length quite often, but as you can tell from this title, I'm beginning to change my perspective on Jayson Tatum. I used to think that Jayson was a superstar player who just sometimes didn't show up. For those of you who may not be aware, my personal definition of a superstar is the player who is capable of being the best player on a championship team. If I believe you could at least theoretically cross that threshold, then I'm gonna perceive you to be a superstar level player, and for many reasons, I kinda thought Jayson Tatum was that guy, but he might not be that guy. At this point, Jayson Tatum has made a habit of not showing up. It isn't just something that happens sometimes. It is frankly to be expected to some degree or another. He was a non-factor in the first half of 2 of their losses, where he was the reason the Celtics found themselves in a hole that they could not dig themselves out of. This series would be over and Boston would have advanced to the conference finals had Jayson Tatum just been awake. Another big problem that Jayson Tatum has that you could see throughout bits of this series is that he wants to be someone that he isn't. And who he wants to be is that guy. He wants to be Kobe, and he hasn't exactly hidden that. He is very clearly a huge fan. He idolized him. He even knew him when he was alive. And hey, guess what? I also idolized Kobe, so I'm not suggesting that Tatum made some bad pick there. However, he keeps wanting to be this mid-range assassin shot creator that Kobe is, and that's just not what Jayson is. Not to mention it's oversimplifying Kobe's game because he's also one of the best slashers the game has ever seen, but that's a whole other thing. Jayson's strengths are as a pull-up three-point shooter and a slasher, but he insists on being this mid-range shot creator that he just isn't. I realize that Tatum's mid-range shots are really, really pretty. Something that I have said before, and I'll say it again here, the mid-range game is easily the most aesthetically pleasing and, because of how my brain works, by extension, enjoyable aspect of the game. And Jayson Tatum's mid-range game aesthetically looks phenomenal. He looks like he's been there before. He has the proper footwork. He gets the proper separation. His jump shot has a kind of weird hitch in it, but it looks good, all things considered. He's a very good mid-range shooter in theory. The problem is, these shots don't actually go in at the rate that you would think they would, that you would think they do, given how much he takes them. And he has slowly reduced his volume from mid-range, but he keeps falling back into these bad habits. Over the last 4 years, Jayson Tatum has shot 36% from 10 to 16 feet, and 40% from 16 feet to just inside the three-point line. Those are not good numbers. Both of them are below league average in terms of percentage. Jayson is not very good at these shots, and he kind of defaults into taking them when he's going into this passive half-asleep mode that he likes to tap into. I also would just guarantee you that he's not shooting that well in this series. I couldn't find those numbers. I'm sure they're somewhere, but my eye test would tell you he's not shooting above 40%. I promise you that much. Now, to be fair to Jayson Tatum, he's also bricking all of his threes. So it's not as though he's like passing up a good shot for a bad shot. He's a three-point shot has also been a bad shot for him in this series. But either way, that's also just the overarching issue of, again, just not showing up. The wannabe Kobe-itis isn't something new to Tatum. In fact, he posted a photo of him watching a Kobe documentary before a game in this series where he proceeded to absolutely stink it up as he has for a majority of the series. Now, I like Jayson Tatum. I want to see him succeed. He's one of my favorite players in the entire league, and last year's Boston Celtics team was the team that I was rooting for throughout those playoffs. But with that said, he routinely disappoints me. He has to stop trying to be something that he isn't, and he also has to just show up as who he is in general rather than just not showing up at all. As of now, I don't think I can consider Jayson Tatum a superstar, because when I call someone a superstar, it's with the expectation that they are going to, at the very least, attempt to bring their best 9 times out of 10. Superstar players do not show up with their minds in the cloud going into the games, especially in the playoffs, especially in a very, very important game to win, which is that Game 5 on your home floor. That's a game you can't just not be mentally checked into, and if you're a superstar player, that's not gonna happen. And I just simply can't keep giving Jayson Tatum this pass if he's going to keep doing this. Don't get me wrong, Jayson Tatum has been a superstar at times, quite often, but I always have to use that caveat. I always have to say in brackets, at times. But a superstar player, a true one, is a superstar player, if not all the time, a lot closer to it than what Jayson has done. Also, just to throw in the end here, what's really annoying me about Jayson Tatum is that I have felt that the Jaylen Brown is better than Jayson take has been a very bad one for a long time, but he keeps playing like shit while Jaylen plays good, and I can't stand that narrative is getting any level of legitimacy to it. So figure your shit out, Tatum. Anyways, that is it. Shout out to Rudy for editing this video, and goodbye.